Happening right now at 10, we're finally seeing some rain come down in the state line. Your weather authority is tracking if we'll need the umbrella tomorrow.
Plus, election security, an event informing voters in Boone County about the upcoming election, ensuring voter safety and giving voters a chance to voice their concerns.
And after a successful first couple of months, Hard Rock workers aren't exactly hitting the jackpot. More on a rally happening outside the Rockford Casino tomorrow and how casino leaders are responding.
From 13 WREX, your weather authority. This is 13 News at 10.
Good evening and welcome to 13 News at 10. I'm Brittany Hardaway.
And I'm Dylan Valencia. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We begin with your election authority over in Boone County, where voters got the chance to learn more about the election just under 2 weeks away.
And our Samantha Soto is joining us now. And Sam, how is Boone County ensuring voters that their votes are safe?
Brittany and Dylan, tonight the League of Women Voters hosted an event to ensure voters' elections are as safe as possible. I spoke to one voter who's an advocate for getting people out to the polls. As a former election judge, she remains confident in the security of the election system.
I have seen the whole process and it's very legitimate and well done. But that issue is important to us in Boone County because we want to make sure we're doing things right. So yeah, that's why we have 5 people running and they're all Democrats running for the Boone County Board.
With security in place to prevent voter fraud, election officials work closely with the State Board of Elections. People in attendance were able to meet with local candidates ahead of the upcoming election. I spoke to one student involved in the Belvedere North High School Student Voice Club who emphasizes the importance of being informed about voting, even though she is not able to vote yet.
I think it's honestly just important to know, to gain information and knowledge of not only it's important to vote, but just like know what you're voting for and know your beliefs and what you stand for, because then it's more of like an educated vote and you got to realize like what's important to you and what you believe in and what you want to see change in.
This is the second full year of the Student Voice Club, and CETA hopes to see more people get involved in that program that aims to amplify student voices within the community. I also spoke to the Boone County Deputy Chief Clerk who wants voters to know early voting ballots will be certified on the night of election, and if held, they'll actually hold them open for 14 extra days to capture any of those last-minute mail-in ballots as long as they're postmarked on November 5th. Brittany.
All right, Samantha, thank you. And now let's take a live look outside downtown Rockford tonight, where we are finally seeing a good amount of rain in the area. We haven't seen this in a while, Dylan.
I know, it's nice, and my plants love it too. This is what I call spooky weather. Spooky weather. Your weather authority, John Jurgens, has been warning us about the rain all day. John, how long should we expect this to last?
Well, it's pretty much going to be lasting all night. So while we're all asleep, this will be when this all comes through. So at least, we don't necessarily see too many worries heading into tomorrow morning. But nonetheless, like we see on Exact Track radar, we can see a line of showers and thunderstorms. You can see plenty of lightning with this. So it is a little bit loud out there towards Freeport and now approaching the Polo, Dixon areas at this point. So starting to see that activity rumbling through. And as we see here on Future Track, that activity continues to roll through with pockets of heavier rain and thunderstorms, especially past midnight. And then after about 4 o'clock or so, that's when we start to see things tapering off. Here's about 6 o'clock, seeing the light rain showers now beginning to move out. Only just patches of drizzle from then on through the morning commute. We're mostly, or if not completely dry after about 9 o'clock in the morning. So with that, temperatures will be slow to climb thanks to more clouds early in the morning, but temperatures get back into the 60s by noon as we clear out heading into this weekend before another pattern flip comes in next week. I'll detail a pretty active forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, some changes for us there, John. Thank you. Now at 10, workers at Rockford's Hard Rock Casino are set to organize tomorrow, accusing the casino of union busting.
Yeah, according to a release from Rockford United Labor, this comes after valet drivers and warehouse workers at the casino voted to join the Teamsters Union just earlier this week. They also accused the Hard Rock of hiring anti-union consultants who hold meetings with workers, pressuring them not to organize. Tonight, the president of Rockford United Labor wants people to know when workers form a union, they are not only doing it for the wages.
We believe that workers deserve not only to survive, but to thrive, especially in an industry as successful as gaming. But it's also about having a voice in the job, safety conditions, consistent scheduling, dignity in the workplace. So for all those reasons, workers are coming out. It's very exciting for Rockford.
And the president of the Rockford Casino responding tonight, saying union members make up a large part of their team, saying, quote, "We value our team members and offer industry-leading compensation, benefits, training, support, and advancement opportunities. We believe in building strong partnerships both with our team and the broader community, and we look forward to watching our band grow as the casino grows," end quote. Now, tomorrow's rally will run from 1 to 4 tomorrow afternoon.
And nearly 80 members of Congress are calling on Stellantis to keep their commitments to the United Auto Workers, including reopening the Belvedere Assembly Plant.
And members in both the Senate and House of Representatives signed letters addressed to Stellantis CEO Carlos Tavares, highlighting the company's failure to honor their agreement, specifically opening the Belvedere Assembly Plant, establishing a mega hub there, and manufacturing the Dodge Durango.
Illinois Senators Dick Durbin and Tammy Duckworth signed one letter, and Representative Eric Sorensen and Bill Foster signed the one from the House. That letter saying, quote, "We are concerned these actions violate both the UAW contract and our trust in your commitment to the American auto worker. Considering your company's numerous layoffs, your public refusal to rule out additional job cuts, and your refusal to respect contractual commitments, workers at Stellantis are concerned about your commitment to their job security," end quote. Stellantis has repeatedly said they're abiding by their agreement with the UAW.
The U.S. Deputy Secretary of Energy and Governor Pritzker paid a visit to Rockford today, highlighting the Biden administration's billion-dollar investment to strengthen the nation's transmission infrastructure. The city of Rockford is set to receive $50 million in funding, aimed to strengthen the area's power grid and expand free sustainable resources, and ultimately creating more jobs and training for new workers. A native of Rock Falls, Deputy Secretary Turk is more than familiar with Rockford, explaining his connection to the city and infrastructure.
My granddad was a civil engineer, my mom's dad, in Byron, working in the Rockford area on infrastructure post-World War II. So it's just circle coming full round for me, coming back here celebrating infrastructure in a town that my granddad actually helped lay out sewer lines and water lines back in the day.
And Deputy Secretary Turk has worked on this bipartisan issue with Illinois lawmakers, the Biden administration, and fellow DOE members.
And new tonight, if you've been keeping up with pop culture, well, there is a new chapter unfolding in one of the most infamous murder cases in America. We're talking about the Menendez brothers murders. The Los Angeles County District Attorney recommended that the Menendez brothers, who killed their parents back in 1989, be resentenced, which means the brothers Lyle and Eric, who are sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, could be eligible for parole immediately. The DA says he will file paperwork with the court tomorrow, which could pave the way for the Menendez brothers to potentially be released from prison.
We're very sure not only that the brothers have rehabilitated and that they will be safe to be reintegrated in our society, but that they have paid their dues, not only for the crimes that they committed, but because of all the other things they have done to improve the life of so many others.
It will ultimately be up to the parole board and the judge to make the final decision.
New at 10, I guess you can say we are officially in the spooky season, and the Rockford Symphony Orchestra is ready to keep you in that spirit.
Oh yeah, lots of fun coming your way. This Saturday, they are hosting their Spooktacular concert, which will be their very first Pops concert for the season. Now, a lot of pieces will be associated with sound effects or even theme songs you might be familiar with in your favorite horror films.
That's pretty cool, and the best part, all of you are invited to dress up in your favorite Halloween costume with a special segment where children will be able to go on stage for a special parade in their costumes. The RSO's music director shares how the world of entertainment and the symphony can become one.
I think you'll be amazed at how much classical music have been used in movies for spooky or scary kind of effect that you just think of it in the soundtrack of the movie, but you don't think of it as, oh, this has been used in classical music. And you would recognize the tune, you would recognize the music, just don't know who wrote it. So a lot of the music in this concert is either music that you would know, like, for example, Jaws by John Williams. Everybody knows the theme to Jaws. And of course, it's spooky.
And this event happening this Saturday at 4 p.m. at the Coronado Theater. And if you are a member at the Discovery Center, your children can get into the RSO performance for free.
And still to come on 13 News at 10, with the election less than 2 weeks away, we're putting a spotlight on the race for Illinois' 11th district. After the break, Armani Estopinan sits down for an exclusive interview with Representative Bill Foster, who tells us what exactly he will do if he's reelected.
And showers and thunderstorms are moving into the area for a much needed rainy night up ahead. I'll time out when this round ends and then when more rounds return ahead in the forecast.
As the race for the White House heats up here in the state line, we're keeping a close eye on the congressional races that could determine the balance of power on Capitol Hill.
Yeah, Illinois' 11th Congressional District makes up parts of Belvidere, Genoa, and Naperville. This year we have Republican Jerry Evans challenging Democratic Congressman Bill Foster. Now they're vying for your votes in hope of representing you in Washington, D.C. Now we sat down with Congressman Bill Foster ahead of Election Day to see exactly where he stands on some of the biggest issues on voters' minds.
And our 13 WREX's Manny Estopinan begins with questions about one of the biggest economic drivers in the area, the Belvidere Assembly Plant.
Stellantis has not yet announced when it will open that plant. Is there anything that you can do in Congress to ensure that they do open that plant in a timely manner?
Well, the leverage that we applied federally that got Stellantis to commit to reopening the plant was the federal incentives for electric vehicle conversion. One of the important issues in this election is that Trump has pledged to eliminate those incentives, at which point, obviously, Stellantis will walk away from the deal. So one of the most important things on the ballot for everyone is whether or not we want that deal canceled, and that will depend on which president we elect.
At the end of 2025, parts of the 2017 Trump tax law are set to expire. Would you vote to extend these tax cuts for households that make more than $450,000 a year and cuts to corporate taxes from 35 to 21%?
No. The last thing that we need to be doing right now is to give the wealthy and large corporations new tax breaks. What we should be doing instead is lowering costs for the middle class and for working families. And this is one of the big differences between the policies. There are elements of the Trump tax cuts that I supported, the R&D tax credits.
Your campaign page says you support the DREAM Act. Is there any way of finding consensus with Republicans on a pathway to citizenship for Dreamers or other amnesty programs?
There's very little incentive for Democrats and Republicans to compromise, particularly those that are just terrified of their ability to survive the next primary election. And so I think if we brought the DREAM Act, a clean, nonpartisan version of the DREAM Act, it would pass the House with large margins. And the problem is that if any Republican speaker would bring up the DREAM Act, he would be voted out of office the next day. And the problem is not as severe on the Democratic side, but it exists there as well. One of the things that I'm working on, and made a presentation on this to the Rules Committee, is something to strengthen what's called the discharge petition, which is simply a rule that says if there is a petition to bring a bill up for a vote that's signed onto by a majority of members of the House, it can be brought up no matter what the speaker thinks of it.
Continuing with immigration, last year we saw a record spike in border crossings, and border security is a top concern for many voters, as I mentioned. What do you propose to ensure a better process for those coming to our borders?
One of the tragedies of the last year was that we had hammered out a bipartisan deal in the House and Senate that would have strengthened border security, put billions of dollars more, hired many more border security agents, and most importantly, strengthen the asylum court system so that those coming to ask for asylum in our country could get a rapid decision. And unfortunately, President Trump tweeted that he did not think Republicans should vote for this, and it just stopped immediately.
As of last month, CNN reports there's been at least 50 school shootings this year alone, leaving 24 dead. What proposals would you bring to Congress to ensure your district's security and ensure parents can safely send their kids to school?
So I support and have voted for numerous pieces of federal legislation to strengthen gun laws and to keep weapons out of the hands of people who should not have them. I voted for the bipartisan Safer Communities Act, which was the biggest gun violence prevention legislation to become law in over 30 years. And I'm very proud of that, but it's only a first step. It made interstate gun trafficking illegal, which should be pretty obvious to everyone, because a huge problem in Illinois is that we see guns trafficked in from states like Indiana.
Would you support any national measure to protect the right to an abortion, or is this an issue best kept to the states?
Absolutely, I support enshrining Roe versus Wade into law. It's something really that should have been done a long time ago. For almost 50 years, the women of America believed they had a constitutionally guaranteed right to control over their bodies and their reproductive freedom.
Would you continue military aid to Israel?
Well, first off, Israel has a right to defend itself. And frankly, it's a good thing that the architect of the barbaric October 7th terror attack has been taken out. But I have really deep concerns about how the Netanyahu government has conducted the war in Gaza and the very large and unnecessary civilian toll of that military operation. Sinwar's death should be an opportunity to get the remaining hostages released, to get a lasting ceasefire that protects the Israeli people from terrorists and stops the bloodshed in Gaza, and to finally start moving toward a two-state solution. The United States has a lot of leverage in this, and we should be using that leverage to encourage the Netanyahu government to do the right thing here.
And that was our 13 WREX's Manny Estopinan. You can actually head over to our website, WREX.com, right now to learn more about Congressman Bill Foster and also where his challenger, Jerry Evans, stands on these same issues.
And you can also check out our 13 WREX voter guide for a look at all the races that matter to you.